Hey guys, it's Lachi Punit once more. In the absence of new set releases, I've decided that there's a lot to talk about with the new To Love Ru set coming out. So I sent some feelers out, and a whole bunch of people said they want to come on and talk about how much they love this new set's entrance into our meta. So without further ado, I guess I'll get each of them to introduce themselves and go from there.
Sup, it's me, W Kim or El Presidente. I, for one, am a tier whore, but we'll get to that in a bit.
Here's a tier
Uh,
hole.
I'm Teru, and I am absolutely outraged by the existence of most yellow and green cards in this set.
Hmm.
That
Uh,
that that's Teru.
I'm fairly sure we have other people on here too. They're just camera shy or something. So we
Sorry.
do, yeah.
This is KY. I'm I'm very upset with Two Lover, I guess.
I,
I don't know.
I
You're not
I
going
think
anywhere.
we've got shared sentiments there, and we've got a couple more people. There's somewhere here.
Okay, let me also say I'm so upset. I already thought of a restriction list for this stupid.
Well, we can definitely go over that in a bit. Um,
Wonderful.
the other two guys are just kind of meandering, but we've got Katsu and Tom on as
Hi.
well. They're just
Hello.
yeah,
They're
they're,
also
they're
tier
yeah,
We're
whores.
both tier horse.
They're also tier whores with me.
they're such your horse. Wonderful.
We like
Okay.
pork.
Or
We're not afraid to admit it.
So I haven't actually thought of a witty title for this video yet, but it's going to be about tiers, power creep, and basically what Tulavru has done to exemplify all of the above. So to begin with, I think we'll do what a lot of people came here for, establish a little tier list so they can go to their friends and bitch about how their friends are playing top tier decks while they're playing bottom tier
Garbage.
or whatever. Yeah. So I think that it's pretty safe to say Talavru and Nisekoi are in the top tier of top tiers.
Yeah, particularly the yellow-green two-lever deck, and then red-yellow-blue Nisekoi deck, probably.
I think so as well. And then we've got a big list of sets which are like you'd be okay taking into a tournament, and you might even think it's the best deck that you could play. But at the end of the day, you know that sometimes you're just going to come up against the higher tier sets and you're just going to die. And I think the sets leading that charge would be Girlfriend Beta, so probably the red blue build. Madoka Magica, the green blue build, maybe splashing red. Um, I think Index is up there, so yellow blue Index. You might be splashing red if you really hate to love Rue. Little Busters, so either the Twins build or the prohibitively expensive yellow green blue build, which I've had updates to, by the way. I've changed my thoughts on that. I think Idolmaster, red blue, maybe with green if you like Iori. Um,
Kantai?
Oh, of course, Kantai, yeah. Kantai has fallen off the map a little lately, but I still think it's really good. And it's the yellow-blue build's existence makes a lot of other decks kind of sad, because it just kind of does what those decks do, but better. Like Guilty Crown, for example, which is also a decent deck, I guess.
Yeah, so
And we've also got like SAO and
Attack on Titan
uh,
as well.
Attack on Titan, so the green, red, yellow core build. Maybe yellow, not necessarily yellow, but the count is really good. And yellow Girlfriend Beta with or without red. What else have I missed? I think Shining is pretty decent.
I put Shining on a lower tier than the other sets that we're talking about,
I guess
personally.
these can be like our
I
A
think
plus,
like
Yeah, those are all have an
uh,
A plus right now.
and then there's like a bunch of decks sitting in A. So I would be happy taking like the capo whatever I feel like building. Crayon Shinchan, Project Diva, Fate, so Rider or Rin Archer or Master or whatever. Love Live, I guess I'd be happy taking. Milky Homes, I think might even be A plus, and we just missed it.
I
That
think
deck is,
Milky is really good.
yeah, that deck is crazy.
Like that deck
Um,
remains relevant somehow. It's pretty
yeah,
sweet.
I think Terraformers is the same as well. Terraformers should be up there because it's just a really sweet deck. It's got everything it needs to be really good, except for gimmicks.
Its level 0 lineup is pretty sweet from what I saw.
Yeah, it's got like a runner. It's got massive 1/1s that just stonewall things.
Do you consider George a gimmick?
Joj is a different gimmicky deck with
It's
glorious
completely different.
tools.
Completely different deck, I'd say. Bit narrow-minded. What else is there? There's like, I think Shana is a competitor right now, simply because,
It has anti
uh,
burn.
exactly.
I don't.
Yeah, well,
I think Shauna would get eaten alive by the Hatsukaze thing. I don't
I
know.
don't think so. It's not reliant on gates like people say it is, because it's got multiple good bond engines.
Like,
Plus,
maybe
it's got a feature.
maybe the people I know don't play Shauna efficiently, but I don't know. It
Well,
doesn't seem like very efficient as a deck.
there's the optimal quote unquote optimal Shana build, which is the old build that ran the old man and a bunch of gates, and it assumes you're playing against a friendly meta that doesn't mind folding to your level 1, but you have to adapt, and that's just how Shana has to adapt.
I
1/1
guess.
Yugi is really good.
Dang,
I
we
think
have so many sets here.
that's because Weiss is a quote unquote balanced game. It's not really that balanced, but we'll get to that. I think we can also chuck in Zero Note Skyma rewrite and maybe even Vivid Red and the Tlavru alien deck, I guess. Akatski is Satan.
And at level 1.
That's
Oh,
fair.
Disgaea is also pretty interesting right now. It has a lot of weird things that that do stuff.
All right, I nearly forgot it got all its restrictions lifted.
Oh yeah,
Nearly.
mid boss is still extraordinarily obnoxious. You have no idea. Extraordinarily.
I'm like trying to figure out the colors for all these sets, and I don't even remember what most of them are anymore.
I don't think it matters that much. If there's anything that people are confused about, they can like comment or whatever. But yeah,
I'm pretty comprehensive so far, so
yeah, we've talked about freaking all of these sets that are good. But if you had a choice of any set in the game to choose to take into a tournament, and you had a lot of money on the line, and your family was waiting for you to take first, so they can
could
be
afford to
rescued
feed
from
them.
the kidnapping and the poverty that awaits you if you don't
You're in a
win.
shadow game. And you're playing for your soul.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Let's go with
gosh,
that.
God.
Shadow game. I would probably take Tularu because it can just sometimes win against everything, and it doesn't matter what your opponent does.
I would
Yeah.
also just take two Loveru. I don't feel like it has any real shortcomings.
I think its major shortcoming is that it's kind of weak to Nisekoi.
Yes and no. It depends on which version of Nisekoi you're playing on.
Well, they can't
Against.
do anything to stop Marika.
No, they cannot. So
Yeah, that's
there's
like,
there's a real risk of dying the Mariko when you don't have money counter in hand.
that's right. They do have money counter. I actually forgot about that.
But in reality, you should have money counter in your hand like every time against the deck.
Yeah. There's no chance you don't have the money counter. You always have the stock to use it too. That's just how the deck goes.
Well,
But
this is the deck literally doesn't spend any stock until level 3.
yeah, essentially. Well, it does. It just doesn't have to.
You can choose to brainstorm when you play the 1/1 hand encore, and that's like all the stock you spent for the first 6 turns.
That can sort of be a weakness too, but
Paying
I
out
don't
stock
think
is
so.
actually like kind of frustrating with yellow green 2 lovers sometimes.
I don't think it's too bad. You just have the TD drop searches. You can search for anything that has cost, and you'll be fine. That's kind of why I'm playing the global support Maya and
Additional stockouts.
the 1175. Yeah, because I actually want stockouts, and because I don't believe in the PR Meekin hype. It's like it's good, but I prefer to have stockouts.
But yeah, so like if I'm going into a tournament, it's like 2 lovers like worst matchups are theoretically decks with anti-burn, which there are 2 of, and the fact that the deck main like runs 4 wind triggers makes those matchups already slightly less bad.
Significantly less bad because you're probably quite compressed. That's why you can actually rely on the Yami draw 2, drop 1 to get you to climax.
Yeah. And then the fact that you just can trigger a wind trigger and just win outright because of that is like those will happen enough that like it makes people sad.
Yeah, I just think the deck has very few weaknesses, and those few weaknesses belong to decks that have weaknesses of their own. So, I think the best counter to Tularu right now is actually Index, but I'll get to that later. The other things you can consider to beat it are playing Shana, playing Log Horizon, or playing Archer-centric Fate, because
Yes.
you'll Gilgamesh punches those climaxes right out of the climax zone.
Yeah. It's a little bit difficult, I think, to get those archers now from Fate Zero.
Is it?
I don't know. I don't know what the stock on that is like anymore, but that is probably
It's
one of the
never been. It's never been highly played.
yeah,
So
that is one of the better options for dealing with it because it just lets you immediately turn off their combo.
yeah, essentially. I have an SP of that card randomly. I got it for like nothing, so I have one. Yeah, I think those are the decks that I could think about using to counterplay to Loveru. Other than that, all you can really do is assume your opponent is bad and play to their weaknesses.
Or
Yeah.
sack the shit out of them, like I do.
Of course. There's always Weissing people.
No, there's never Weissing people.
Just cheating.
Yeah.
Right.
Wait, no, I didn't say that.
Let's be real though. This deck is it's incredibly powerful. Almost it has hand fixing galore. It has
can-
utilities galore.
You can watch our video where we complain about the set for an hour.
Yeah, we do that a lot.
I definitely rage bought into a new deck because of Two Love Rue,
mm,
which may have been a little irrational, but like it's cool.
I
It's
don't
a-
think. Yeah,
I mean, like it's a deck I wanted anyway, but it was kind of like, fuck this shit, fuck Little Busters. like that was my general feeling.
That's probably the biggest frustrating thing about Two Lover is that, like, all the traditional counters, the strong endgame finishers, are completely nullified by the fact that it's freaking hexproof.
I'm very unhappy about that. If it wasn't hexproof, I'd be like, yeah, I'll just keep playing LB. The world will keep on spinning. But no, that little text hexproof has stopped the world on its axis, and I have to play a different deck now.
Ugh.
Yeah. The
so-
fact that it's hexproof and it also has money counter means that if you don't play Tulabru, you're going to be vulnerable to their money counter anyway.
Yeah.
If you've ever been subjected to
Or
money
if you play
counters ever,
index.
yeah, well, that's true. But all the index lists I've seen topping are really
Toma
bad
Light.
lists. Yeah, they like don't have any Toma because they enjoy being money counted. They don't have the mill to 3.5k because they enjoy relying on their brainstorm. And they have Misakuro, which is still at 2. Reminder, it's still at 2. Because they want to splash Kuriko or something? I don't know.
I really like the precision that Toma gives you over some of these other options. At 3 soul, it's
Absolutely.
very easy to swing for the soul you want.
Not to mention the fact that you can just ditch a card and give another character what +1 soul or itself.
It makes it very easy to precisely side attack at level 3 for like 4 damage if you wanted to.
Absolutely. And the fact that
Precisely.
the fact that Toma himself is level 0 actually takes away some of that precision from the opponent, which is another. I know people say it's like a really bad thing he's level 0. I don't think so on a level 3.
On a level 3 that
Um,
also says can't be targeted, it's not a problem. Because the biggest problem for Tomas, the other Tomas, are cards that like pay 1, kill a level 0 on your opponent's front row. Him
Yeah.
being untargetable removes that problem.
That's fair.
Just don't lose because they sided your Toma and you couldn't heal counter. That's all I want to throw
that
out
is-
there.
That is a real problem, but hopefully you don't have nothing but Toma on the field.
Worst
Yeah,
case,
yeah.
you can Dragon Stream to give it +2 levels.
There's also a 1/0 support.
Or
which-
not
On a
Dragon
side
Stream,
attack?
Dragon Strike.
No, you can't Dragon Strike on a side attack.
No, you can Dragon Strike on another front attack to buff it by 2 levels.
I
This is
guess
true, I guess.
seems
they
too
do-
clutch.
There is a 1/0 support that stops opponents from side attacking, but it's incredibly bad otherwise.
Oh,
So, we'll get back to the original topic. Tulavru is just, it's not a set that should exist. It's a victim of Bushiroad's new design theory where they designed the deck before they release it. So it's no longer up to the people, up to the players to deck build because the deck's already been built for you. All you have to do is tinker until you found what suits you best. I don't actually know anything about Bushiroad's inner designs, their R&D, their whatever, but from looking at the cards and from knowing quite a bit about game design in terms of other TCGs, video games, board games, and just general common sense, it's pretty evident that they're building the decks before the players are.
Yeah.
Like Resonance, for example, is the most linear ability in the entirety of Weiss. Like, you need the card in your hand. You need to have it in your deck. You need a lot of them so you can have it in your hand.
Reliably.
That's not a
Yeah.
choice. It's not a choice at all.
No.
And then they make the resonances good cards that you would run anyway. It's like,
Exactly.
okay.
Unless you're playing
Exactly.
Alien, in which case it's a bad card that you have to run because there's another very good card you want to run.
Sure, but when I say that, I'm thinking of like Shining Resonance.
Yeah, tying it to like cards like Riki, or in this case, tying it to your premier level 3 finisher into Loveru, not a great idea.
Yeah, there's just no. If it was tied to a bad card, like if all of these were tied to, say, a vanilla Yami or like the 2/1 counter Yami or something like that, then it would be a little better. But on that same token, unlike Shining Resonance, sorry, Telovru doesn't even rely that heavily on its resonance abilities.
There are two relevant cards with resonance and two Loveru in the yellow
Yeah.
green deck, and they're both at level 0, and they're both utility options. They're not mandatory in any sense.
Exactly, although they are quite good. But because you're running such a great card anyway, those cards get even better down the line, and that screams that screams poor game balance to me. You're rewarding players for playing the good cards and making it even more obvious what the good cards are. And that all compounds to make a deck that is greater than the sum of its parts, and I don't like that.
Yeah. I guess we should talk about some of the other sets too. Nisakoi is still super duper relevant right now. Its advantage engine is still pretty ridiculous when you're playing up against a deck without anti-salvage, so your biggest concerns are going to be dealing with two Loveru, yellow, blue, green, Little Busters, and Kansai.
I don't think yellow, green, blue, Little Busters is as big a problem because no one has the cards.
Yeah, that's going to be the biggest point going against yellow, blue, green, Little Busters, is that no one really owns the perfect deck. Because
I think you'll still see people with the 2K one soul build though. Like,
Yeah,
just
okay,
to throw
sure.
that out there, people play it. Like, and it's not as good as the 2 soul build, but I think bringing up Little Busters is relevant regardless of the 2 soul climaxes and their availability.
I agree. But against those sets, the advantage engine at level 1 switches from the reversing things to get power to playing 1/0/6/5s and just building stock until you hit level 3.
More or less.
So it's like you have several options going on in this deck. That's part of the reason why 2 Loveru is such a still like top tier even after its ban list from a year ago almost.
You mean Nisakoi?
I do mean Nisakoi. 2 Loveru will get a ban list, I predict, but we can have KY discuss his theoretical ban list in a little bit.
I think it really depends on how much Japan loves Girlfriend Beta, because they're so infatuated with the fact that Girlfriend Beta can compress well, can never spend any stock, and just has a wall.
But 2 Loveru does the same thing.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't compress nearly as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. It doesn't compress nearly as well because it doesn't have readily available stockouts. However, it does hand fix just as well. And it also has a less good of a wall.
Yes. But as a trade-off, they have a much stronger offensive game.
Incomparably stronger, yes.
Yeah.
So the draw for Girlfriend Beta Red Blue, I don't know, Tom can talk more about this, but I think the draw is the fact that it's just so good at managing everything. It can have as much stock as it wants or needs and never have the need to pay it out. And it sets up its late game in such an it sets up both its mid game and late game so easily. It has a 1/0 support that searches for counters because your level 1 game is either force them to side or have counters at the ready. Then they have like a 2/1 level support which you might want to play anyway, not necessarily, but you definitely want to play here because it gets you your quote unquote finisher. I still don't think it's that scary a finisher. I took 5 from it the other day, and I still wasn't very impressed with it because I killed him immediately afterwards.
Ironically,
But it's a card.
It's very
a card.
easy though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's super
A
easy
lot
to
of
assemble.
things about the deck are just very easy. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Ironically, the girlfriend's beta red blue deck is actually like has a really bad matchup against terraformers and railgun as well, because they both have brainstorms that just murder your front row, and neither deck really care. Like terraformers doesn't really care about reversing their battle opponent to get value.
Yeah, that's definitely fair. I think Terraformers is a little underplayed, but at the same time, I don't think it has enough in the late game to deal with the nonsense that Tulavru and Nisekoi can just kind of inflict on you.
Yeah,
And yes, it does have finishes of its own. It has Musashi, it has
clock kicker and non-attack burn.
Akari and the Clock Kicker. Yeah, they're all really good, but
They're
right
not
now,
heinous.
exactly, you need a really strong gimmick to stand up to the nonsense that is Tulavru or Nisekoi. And yes, I understand Japan likes their control. They like being able to do whatever they want with their deck in hand and whatever. But the reality is, I don't think Girlfriend Beta is explosive enough to deal with nonsense like like what Tulavru and Nisekoi have. It just doesn't finish the game effectively enough. And you need to be able to do that in a game where you can just die out of nowhere to a barrage of small attacks.
Yeah,
It's a controversial opinion. I admit that. I think Girlfriend Beta is a great deck. Piloting it feels good. I like the fact that I can have 11 clean stock or whatever, and I'm not sure what that sound is, but I'll leave it be. I like the fact you can have a infinity stock, so much hand, the versatility to get anything you want from your deck, because even though there's like fake requirements, oh, your search targets must be blue.
your field must be blue.
Yeah, but that doesn't count when your blue supports all search for the other cards you wanted anyway.
This is fundamentally the same issue that like you see in other sets where it's like anti-salvage. It's like both players can't salvage. Well, now we'll just build our deck to not salvage instead.
Because symmetrical effects are always there, right? They're always inherently balanced because they affect both players, right?
Sure.
I'm being extremely facetious there if you hadn't noticed.
Okay.
Um,
I've played Royal Oppression. That is a fair symmetrical card.
it's
It's a
like how
Yu-Gi-Oh card for the uninitiated.
balance is symmetrical and it's very fair, isn't it?
Oh, it's very fair. That's why you don't put any artifacts in your deck, because that would make it unfair.
Vileplume is very fair as well as are all symmetrical effect. Anyway,
Living End, for instance.
yes, Living End is definitely a fair symmetrical effect.
We
Point
could go
is
on.
that, yeah, I think that actually segues really nicely into our next topic. Now that we've kind of established a pseudo tier list that we're happy to answer any questions on, if you have them. The idea of false requirements and fake balance in Bushiroad's design. So it's no secret that decks are getting better and better, and we call that power creep. However, I'm not entirely sure that you can use knowledge of power creep from other games, such as Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, or even games like Dota or other video games that have patch increments to evaluate power creep in Weiss, because Bushiroad's power creep in Weiss Schwarz and Chaos TCG, it's a very specific sort. It consists of giving every single new set incredibly powerful utilities to do whatever they want. And then what differentiates them is like the top end. Did someone want to say something?
Nope.
No?
Nope.
Oh, well, I'll just keep on monologuing then. So you'll notice in every recent set, there are incredibly powerful ways to just ditch climaxes without any cost. So every Azusa or Akatski clone, the Marika...
Most
Go on.
most recently, the very heinous Brainstormer from Two Lover.
Exactly. It's got ditch a card, fix your hand, possibly get a Yami from Clock. This is stupid. It stops Clock Kick from removing Yami for good. Then you've got things like the 0-0 Marika from Nisekoi. Just drop a card and just get any character back after scrying. It's fair and balanced, clearly.
Drop a
Uh,
climax specifically, such a restriction.
yeah, well, that's definitely not what you wanted to drop anyway.
Not a little zero. What? I was gonna play that climax.
I mean, fair enough. You don't get to drop a pendant for more value or level 3 you're going to clock anyway, but it's still very easy to just fix your hand with that. Then you've got things like the comeback campaign index, which comes to play, check top, draw one, drop one if it's magic, every other effect of that sort. Like, there's a reason Saika Looks Up to Mommy is such a highly acclaimed card by everyone who's ever played Madoka, because that card is insane. It's an amazing hand fix. And now that you can do it for costless on so many new sets, it's just,
Like
I don't know.
Cinderella Girls. The new Rin is definitely gonna be a fucking expensive ass card from the
What's
TD.
that card do?
When it attacks, it gets
Oh
the
yeah, yeah,
same
yeah.
as Sakamami,
Yeah, it's a
It's
Sayamami.
Sayamami.
And then when it
top checks on
dies-
death.
and then
Yeah.
it scries on death,
Yeah,
which is
it's
bonkers.
Sayamami except scry on death.
That's so stupid. It
That's
just means
interesting.
that all the new sets no longer have to. Well, they still
Work
have to
hard.
rely on. Yeah, they have to rely on a fair amount of luck still. But yeah, you're right. They no longer have to work hard to get the climaxes into the bin, and they retain all the explosiveness and the high quality finishes and the strong level 1 game that you expect from modern sets.
Cinderella
And-
Girls is currently lacking that, but we'll see if they get there.
It's been literally what 4 days of spoilers
I
and
know, right?
TDs. They've already got one. What do they have in the TDs? They've got like Jupiter and
They got the Jupiter event.
yeah, they've got. So my point is that instead of being straight up number creep like you see in the Pokemon card game or I guess you've seen it over the years in Magic. It's
Sort
utility
of.
card. Yeah,
Sort of
Well-
magic.
creatures are better nowadays.
Yeah, but as a consequence, instants and sorceries are worse.
Well, yeah, that's true, but that's creep in a way as well.
Yeah, I
Downwards.
mean, like, Supreme Verdict was a 4 mana uncounterable board wipe, and now you're lucky if you can get 5 mana ones.
Well, Languish is kind of a board wipe.
Yeah, but that's conditional.
I guess so.
Man, it's just that like things about Weiss, like cards in Weiss are soon to have like lines and lines of text. It's like we're gonna be playing Yu-Gi-Oh soon. You're gonna need a magnifying glass to read all the effects.
I don't know, man. Some cards are pretty simple, like 1045s to gain 500 for everything else. They're not going to get any worse anytime soon.
Yeah,
I just
costless
don't
beaters.
read.
Yeah, reading is overrated. Um,
Just
But,
pretend
yeah.
the whole deck is vanillas.
But we have, like, a pretty solid list here of, like, some examples of, like, actual number creep, though.
yeah,
To
like
say
this is
that
this,
that exists as well. Like, there is real number creep.
the first one is one that probably nobody is actually familiar with except for me.
And no one cares about it except for him as well.
Yeah, I don't care about it either, to be quite honest. I just know about it. So there's a character called Midori in Little Busters. There's some plot-related crap there, but she's basically Mio. She changes from a costless Mio in both releases, and she's a 1/1 in both instances. But the first one is a 1/1 6k vanilla with a soul trigger. The second one's a 1/1 7k vanilla with no soul trigger.
Bro, that soul trigger's worth 1k, man.
Yeah, so theoretically
Come on,
the card
that's
is
fair.
on the card is on budget theoretically, but like that soul trigger is not worth 1,000 power.
It's not relevant because how many times out of 100 games is that soul trigger going to be relevant versus the extra 1k power?
And how many times is that soul trigger gonna like win or lose you the game in relative terms? Like there are a lot of
Exactly. How
times where soul trigger is something that you really didn't want to see in your deck and you get it and you lose, and there are times when you want to see it and honestly when
like-
you're swinging for precise damage you're usually banking on not seeing a soul trigger.
Exactly. Another instance of this exact thing is the 1/1 Yukiko from the original Persona 4 set versus the 1/1 Akari from Terraformers.
Yeah.
They both have the clause of
When a card
an,
rests.
when an opponent's card rests, this gains 1/5. But Yukiko is 5,000 power base. Akari is 5,500 with an additional effect on there, which is I think when another character reverses it
Now
gets
when
power.
another character attacks he gets
Oh,
1,000.
okay.
So
Sure.
he actually has some offensive punch behind him as well.
So even before the additional offensive punch and effects, Yukiko's small already because of this stupid soul trigger. This just goes to show that Bushiroad has a very false equivocation when it comes to things like soul triggers versus power versus effects.
I mean, you even get like really classic cards like KOF with their 1-1-5-5 clock encore vanillas with Soul Trigger.
Yeah, and now we have 1165 clock on core vanillas, which are infinitely better, but literally no set aside from like English Fate Zero plays it because it's just not good.
All right.
Like, you
Also,
see
there's.
that.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you go for it.
Also more recently, I guess I just thought of it right now, but we talked about it before. Level Zero Ellie from the second set, and then the Mekon anti-salvage. That's
Oh
an
yeah, yeah.
that's
Oh,
also
yeah.
listed.
That was a big point of discussion. There is a rarity boost which sort of accounts for the additional effect, but like ultimately you still have the area which is frontal 5 come and play. You may choose to mill 3, good
Yeah.
effect, and then Nikon is the exact same effects with anti-salvage tacked on as a third ability with no loss in power or anything.
That's
Yeah,
why
Well,
anti-salvage is fair, right? It's
It's
balanced on
symmetrical.
both
Well,
sides.
the-
Affects both
Symmetrical
players.
effect, symmetrical effect.
that's-
That's right.
That's
I
why
forgot about
Hatsukaze
that.
is like 2500 power, right?
Yeah,
Oh God.
Hatsukaze gains power for having the anti-salvage compared to
Hatsu-
other just 500
Global
globals.
fives. Yeah.
Hatsukaze is an extremely interesting case. It's a 2K that gives global 500. Most global 500s are 500 power.
Yep.
Oh,
Well, yeah, but that's because characters with quote-unquote detrimental effects
Oh,
will
that's right. Yeah,
gain power to compensate for
really.
these quote-unquote detrimental effects.
Hatsukaze is a bit of a special case because Kankole was a set designed to kill the 8-gate meta, but the point still stands. Bushiroad is they have they have false equivocation when it comes to things like this.
I mean, like for instance, theoretically, the 3-2 Yami is all on cost budget wise relative to other level 3s. In theory, for instance, the comparison would be to the 3-2 Joseph from Terraformers, who is, I
Oh,
believe, the
yeah.
first instance of that effect being printed. He too is an 8500 power with, if your full field is trait, it goes up to 10k, can't be targeted. So that card is already associated with a come and play type effect, right? But you also get an actual come and play effect, which is heals. He heals, but he also comes in play early, -1 level. So it's like you get 3 effects with all of these effects, and like technically, Yami is on budget. The first effect is on budget. The second effect is draw to ditch one. That's a come and play effect. That's roughly equivalent to heal as far as Bushiroad is concerned. And then a climax combo is roughly equivalent to -1 level on condition. So these are all fair according to Bushiroad. It's just that they didn't actually consider what the climax combo was doing in conjunction with the rest of the card text.
Couldn't have put it better myself. That's exactly how it goes. And even though Joseph can come and play early of his own accord, Yami can do that as well, and they've just printed it on another card. So you can view that as extension text, really. It's a way of hiding the fact that Yami has a lot more going for her than Joseph does, while still maintaining the facade of being, oh, we're not power creeping, we're just printing different effects, and it's all still balanced in the end. But
It's still all budgeted properly the way we want it to be budgeted.
That's just not how it goes.
Oh, yeah.
We can take a classic example. So anyone who's played for 2 or 3 years will be very familiar with 1-1 Tenchi. It's a 7-5. Come and play, check top. If it's not a death trait character, this card dies at the end of the turn. So a 1175 is pretty big. We can all agree on that.
Yep.
And
500 power
therefore-
over budget.
Yeah, exactly. So because it's not a vanilla. Sorry, vanilla is a 7K,
1-1
and it's
vanilla
five.
for 7k.
Yeah, 1-1 vanilla is a 7K, so it's 500 bigger. Therefore, it has a detriment, right? Well, recently we've had cards which are 1175s without detriment, and not only that, they have additional good effects on them as well.
The
So,
most blatant
yeah.
offenders being the
The 1-1 1-1 Maya from To Love Ru has this effect.
which she goes to 7-5, can't be bombed, and then there's the
Yes.
1-1 Clock Encore from Attack on Titan, which gets
Yeah.
Clock Encore and goes up to 7-5.
Yeah. So these cards, their fake downside is that if you don't have 2 or more of the relevant traits on the field as well, then they are only 6k 1-1s, which are bad, right? 6k 1-1s are bad. We discussed that just before. But the thing is, you're never going to have it sitting at 6k. they're always going to be 7/5s.
It's
a
like they're
false-
balancing for a standard when they make these cards, right? Like they come up with these
have
big
you, have you seen
traits.
have you seen Gigant Shooter? That whole set is balanced for standard.
But it's like it's so stupid because these trait restrictions just might as well not exist if you're playing it within the set.
It's like in particular, it's most notable when you're playing sets like Attack on Titan, or not Attack on Titan, Sword Art Online in particular, where it's like everything is like Avatar Net, Avatar Net, Avatar Net, and you look at the set and every card has Avatar or Net on it, and some of them have both. It's like
Yeah,
Well,
like
it's
you
kind
can
of.
go on.
Yeah, well, they're just like arbitrary restrictions that mean absolutely nothing within the microcosm of the set. And since pretty much everyone plays Neo Standard, I want to say, not
Yeah.
like
Absolutely.
people play Standard, but I'd say Neo Standard is much more popular.
Like
like
99
these-
to 1, literally.
Yeah, so these restrictions don't really mean anything, especially in something like Love Live, where everything except the alpacas are music trait. Like there are
Or,
Yeah.
three
or take-
cards.
or take Kantai for example.
everything's a boat girl.
Everything is a boat.
That will change soon, sir.
That will change
Abyssal
soon.
Fleet will not be boat girls.
But
Abyssal Fleet
e-
will be Abyssal Fleet.
But the Abyssal Fleet will still run Fort Compass.
Yeah.
Yo,
Agreed. Even amongst this like fake trait requirements, there are still power creep though. There's like the girlfriend beta 1/1 clock encore. I don't remember her name, the yellow one.
Oh yeah, the one from the second set.
Sure, that card.
Yeah,
It requires-
she has a name, I'm sure.
She has a name, I'm sure.
She requires 2 or more girls on the field to get to 7/5 or 7K.
Just
I believe.
7K.
Just 7K,
Still.
right. So, whereas Umi from the Love Live Extra Booster needed 3 other music characters to get those same stats.
And
I
Girl
mean-
Train is just as prominent as Music Train in Love Live, so
Literally more prominent because every character in Girlfriend is a girl, whereas the alpacas in Love Live are not
Her
music.
name's
characters.
Hazuki.
Hazuki, all right.
beautiful.
I do want to check something, because if is it the Yuzuku Hazuki Tanabata? It
Yeah,
is.
yeah. It is.
Okay, never mind. It is actually just straight up creeps. I
Yeah.
was wondering if it needed the 2 girl traits to also gain Clock Encore, but it has Clock Encore natively, so
Yeah.
it doesn't count.
It's actually so weird because Wishroad has this weird thing where they value music traits seemingly above all other traits. Where if you
Oh,
look
no,
at Love Live's
Magic. They value magic trait really, really highly.
Oh, that's true as well. But like they value like certain traits
Magic,
more than some
music.
others, which is kind of
Magic and-
strange.
yeah, magic and
Standard,
music
yeah.
being then.
There was
Magic-
a very
Magic
amusing power creep as well. Even from Girlfriend's beta, the first set to UBW, where like there's the Chloe from the first set, which is on reverse. You can pay 2 to burn X, where X is the number of climaxes in Waiting Room. Right, it's on reverse and it heals. And then the other one is the Rin from UBW, which is come and play draw 2 ditch 1 on attack, pay 2, so the same cost on combo to do the exact same effect.
You have to rest the character when you play the Rin though. Ooh.
Oh no.
That's like saying my Onodera from Green Nisekoi is like I have to rest a character. Well, it's a good thing I can early play change it.
Okay, can we talk about that Onodera and why I don't have to pay a stock with that, but I have to pay a stock with Sayaka?
Because you have to rest a card.
Fuck you. You know that's not worth it.
No, it's not. But like that's just blatantly unfair.
So as everyone can tell, we don't even need to think very hard. There are instances of power creep everywhere, but they're very rarely the
The number.
straight up number creep that you see with like Pokemon right now has 230 HP Pokemon, whereas 3 years ago the biggest it really got was 130, and a year before that the biggest it really got was
Charizard.
no, not
Just
Before that-
just goes to
before-
show
yeah.
you how long I've been playing Pokemon.
And
Well,
I remember when, like, what was it? Yveltal? Does Yveltal have 180 HP?
Evertal was 170, I believe.
Was there something in
Yveltal.
that dark deck that is 180?
Darkrai is 180, and no one
Okay,
knew
yeah.
why.
Yeah, Darkrai. That is a supreme
Darkrai.
bullshit card.
I
That
love
did not need
Darkrai.
180 HP.
It did not, but Darkrai's my bae. He served me so well.
Toad does not need 180 HP.
Toad didn't need a card.
Fair enough.
But yeah, there's lots of instances of power creep in any game. Weiss's is just a little different, as you've probably understood from our talking.
Yeah, every new set gets an Azusa somewhere.
Yeah.
It's not every set, but it's like a shocking amount of sets.
Well,
Well,
when like
Girlfriend
3 out of
Bait doesn't
every
have
5
that.
sets get it, it's like, this is kind of silly.
Okay, so what are the past releases? Let's go through it. So the last set released was To Love Ru, that had a level 1 Akatski clone.
Yep.
Or a
For
Before-
Alien and
Yep,
Science.
for Alien only.
No,
Oh,
it
well,
gets Science as well.
for Alien only.
Harsh. Fucking harsh.
Wow.
Attack on Titan
Savage.
did not have one, I don't think.
Isekoi had one.
Yes.
Isekoi had one. It
Sweets.
was yeah.
First sweets.
SAO2 did not have one. They still don't have one.
Yeah.
What
I
else?
think the next one is Love Live. The
No,
blue.
Shining Resonance. Oh,
Well,
the
no, I
one
mean the
that-
next one to get
the next
a
Akatsuki was the Maki one, right?
yeah the
Yeah, for
Maki.
blue.
Yep, the
Blue.
monkey.
Which was right before Shining Resonance, if I recall correctly.
So we're 50-50 in the last 6 sets getting this particular profile.
And after that was Madoka and then UBW. UBW had
Fate
two.
had two.
So
So
can we
we're-
count
we're-
that?
Holmes had one. Like it's
Yeah,
just
Oh yeah,
Milk
Milk Homes had a
pretty
full
apparent.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then,
so,
like, Riki is also just getting reprinted all over the place, but better.
Oh my god, yep.
Yeah, so we've got one in Cinderella Girls already. We have one in
Shining
Shining
Resonance.
Resonance.
The Guilty Crown got it in his comeback campaign.
Yeah.
Madoka kind of has it. To Love You kind of has it as well.
Stuffleborough?
Two
Yeah,
Lover
it's-
has it in, like, 2 kind of ways, but, like,
I'm not sure it really counts, but the one cost Clock One Plus is in both of those. UBW has Taketsubo, which is basically the same thing.
Oh, it totally does. That's retarded.
Yes, it does. I don't know if Milky Holmes has one. I didn't look at that set very closely.
I didn't look at it. I didn't look at all the cards
They
either.
have a clock one, draw one.
Yeah. Anyway, I think
Definitely not as good.
They search the top card of your deck and add it to your hand.
Yeah,
it's
man.
extraordinarily
movie.
apparent, man. They're just printing all
IMS
the
movie
versatility.
has one too.
Yeah, they're printing all the
Except for it's for a
bosses.
shitty trait. I know, because I play it.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
They're
Alright,
printing
guys.
everything for every set, and
wouldn't
just give it-
even Mind Sensor break Weiss?
no, because there'd still be those people who sack into it in the top 4 anyway.
What if you still had to shuffle?
No, I still don't think it would.
I don't
I'm
know, like-
I'm of the opinion that whenever you restrict something, you should restrict the ceiling, because just restricting the way to get there will not stop that series or that deck or that booster from getting to that ceiling anyway. And when that ceiling wins the game, it's just very hard to sustain a metagame. I mean, hit the consistency if you have to, but
Yeah, in the majority of cases, Bushiroad has hit consistency of decks. The IMAS ban list was primarily taking care of consistency by removing the runner and the Haruka, as well as hitting the early play level 3 option.
yeah,
for being
but
supremely consistent.
look at Nisekoi's.
Nisekoi's-
They didn't hit consistency at all. Okay,
Nisekoi's-
sure, they hit
Nisekoi's hit Raku, which is a consistency hit. The 2-1 refresh, which is also a utility tool.
No. 2-1 refresh was ceiling, because 2-1 refresh plus
Yeah.
Plus
3-2
Onodera is very
Onodera
silly.
is the most stupid thing I've had to. Oh god.
What else was there on the? Oh, and Pendant, which was really just saying we're banning the other 2 cards.
Yeah, but they hit Marika, which is clearly a ceiling hit.
Yes, but in the same sense, you get like the older ban lists are more obviously like consistency hits, unless you're talking about Haruhi.
Well, yeah, but Kantai was also a ceiling hit.
Well,
Yep.
and then it slowly
For a
got
short
to,
time.
and then
For-
like got changed 4 times over the course of 8 months.
And right now, it's still a ceiling hit because it stops people from playing Hatsukaze and Hibiki and
And
Akagi in the
Akagi.
same deck. And people still play Akagi because it's low ceiling.
It's a pretty good card.
Well, I think on that note, we can have KY discuss his theoretical choose one of X for two Loveru.
Well, well, it was actually a choose three, but it was really more about like what we were talking about consistency. My idea was basically have the Mekon brains. It's a three choose one between the Mekon brainstorm, the sitting Maya, and it was the 1/1 Yami. Originally, I said the 3/2 Yami, but uh, that's
No,
basically killing the
you
entire
can't hit
deck.
that.
Yeah.
It kills.
You
It
can't
kills a
hit
lot of
it.
resonant stuff.
But I eventually switched it over to the 1/1 Yami. So it's would be something like a three choose one amongst those three.
In that case, I think you'd almost always have to take the brainstorm.
Yeah. Honestly, like I thought about it as well. I would take the brainstorm as well.
Unless you want to go
I
could-
super YOLO
Yeah,
and choose
with
the hand-on core.
I think the
But-
brainstorm's just too good.
yeah,
The
Yeah.
brainstorm is just heinous. It hand fixes and then pluses. Like, what?
pretty
It's
much.
really dumb. It also digs you one card deeper, if that matters at all.
Hey, sometimes that one card deeper gets you to that climax you needed to hit. So like,
And
Exactly.
sometimes that one card deeper is the climax.
Yeah, okay, sure, but
What a downside!
corner case, man.
Boo-hoo.
I was thinking about whether it was plausible to hit the climax itself, so hit the win trigger down to like 1.
I actually thought about that myself.
the win
but
trigger to 1.
I thought
Think,
about
think
hitting
about
it
it.
too.
Think about it. That screws with them so much.
Holy Jesus! I have a hard enough time getting it when there's only 2 left in my deck.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
the thing. The problem play is obviously the win trigger plus bunch
I mean,
of Yamis.
I've gloriously like forced I refresh on level 3, and I'm already refreshing by the time I'm done with my turn because I've dug through 12 cards.
It's so stupid. It's so very,
Like-
very stupid.
The fact that the Yami is a draw 2, ditch 1, and then you have a Maya that looks at top 5 and adds a card to your hand means that like,
Exactly.
as long as there's like two win triggers in your deck, you will probably find it.
Oh yeah, you'll probably find multiples.
Like
And you'll
you
use that
will
extra
find
draw
every
to get
other
a money
climax
counter.
too. You'll,
Unless your opponent makes you refresh with 2 less climaxes. Those 2 climaxes being win triggers.
Oh, that's
Love Live
honestly-
and Girlfriend Beta.
Yeah, see, this banning would make it so Girlfriend Beta and Love Live become hard counters. Wait, no. The win trigger has to be in the discard, doesn't it?
yeah.
Yeah. So
not
maybe, yeah.
necessarily. Maybe they'll just hold it as soon as they have it. Just never clock it,
Yeah, that's
Pretty
probably
much,
what will
yeah.
happen if you just restrict the win trigger. Let's be real.
which is fine by me.
It still makes it a lot easier to get killed, though.
Talavru does not have infinite hand. They can't afford to keep holding the win trigger and not clock it.
This is true.
Because there's just so many ways around their plus in combo. And if you have like a ban list like Kai suggested, they can't keep their 10k in the field forever against every deck.
This is also true.
It's just very hard to restrict a set like this without completely crippling it, which is definitely not what Bushiroad wants to do. You could
But
consider
that's
hitting
what I
like,
want to do.
yeah, oh, that's fair. Well, they did that to Disgaea. Disgaea fell off the map completely. They did that to who else did they do that to? Basically nobody.
Haruhi.
Alright.
RV.
No, Haruhi was still a force right after the ban list was hit. After the ban list.
Rewrite?
Rewrite was definitely a
People
force.
still
after the ban
played
list.
rewrite.
Rewrite was still fine. Still had an encore giver.
Yeah.
I'm looking up what the standings for last year's Australian WGP was.
Last year's.
Yeah, just to see how bad this year's Australian WGP relates to.
Last year, I think we had.
Oh,
I think we had 4 Nisekoi.
No, not
Uh,
even. There was 3 or not even 2 Nisekoi.
There was Dog Days. There was freaking.
No, 2014
Weiss.
WGP.
Yeah.
Oh no, this is World Finals. Never mind. I'm
Yeah.
wondering
No. There was Dog Days. There was there was Noise. There was Little Busters. I think it was 4 or 5 Nisekoi though.
How was
Oh,
Zero
found it. It was
Tsukaima
5
after it
Nisekoi
first got
in,
hit?
in top 8.
Yeah, 5 Nisekoi, 1 LB, 1 Noise, 1 Dog
Wait.
Days.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, sorry, 3 Nisekoi, LB, Railgun,
Wait.
Dog Days, Symphogear,
Wait,
and
oh.
Miku.
I did not realize a railgun made it. Oh, Miku, I can understand. Yeah, fair
So
enough.
so functionally speaking, like, and this is like one tournament, so it's not like a real sample size of any kind. Two Loveru is currently worse than Nisekoi was last year.
No, that's just one tournament, and it's Australia. It's not even the metafags of Japan, so it
But
doesn't
you're
actually
from the
count.
moon.
I am from the moon, but when Bushiro Japan looks to ban things, they look at
They only
Japanese
look at the
results.
Japanese tournament results, which is true.
So we'll have to wait for one of them. And Terry, to answer your question earlier, Zero Note Skyma just picked the yellow Louise and kept on trucking.
But I thought it and like, because didn't Zero no Sugama have multiple ban lists?
They did. One of them had the 2-1 event banned. That was unrestricted, and then they maintained the 3-2 2-1 changer and
Oh, it was the changer. That's what I'm thinking of. I thought it was something like the level assist and
no,
the
no,
3-2 Luis were on the same list. I was like, okay,
no, that would be stupid.
yeah, okay.
The
Never
level
mind.
assist sucks, except for the fact that it goes to clock for Louise,
Well, it's broken because it goes to clock for Luis.
more or less. But ban listing this particular set seems quite difficult.
You could errata cards.
No, you couldn't.
That's too.
Uh-huh.
That's
Just
Too
200
easy.
choose
That's
one.
that's too much trouble.
No,
It is an option though.
you're not allowed to do that.
I was waiting for you to do that, but when you didn't, I was like, well, okay, I guess I'll say it. But no, I don't think erratas are an option. I think that you'd have to hit something, and the level 3 Yami has to be part of the hit. After seeing that resonance is not actually as prominent as I thought it might be, I could see the Yami going down to 2 quite easily.
But even at 2, like, it becomes slightly less effective in the sense that, like,
It caps off at 3 shots, which is
4
still
shots. You get 4 shots.
Oh
Well,
yeah, but
one of them is money
one,
counterable.
yeah, one can be counted. You still get 4 shots, but one of them can be nulled. And if other people playing To Love Ru, then that's very possible. Or Kantai. I don't know. I don't think Yami should stay at 4 because triple Yami is actually easier and stupider than triple Marika in a lot of situations.
It's certainly easier.
It's not a higher ceiling because Marika killed you from like 2-5.
Mark could
Whereas
kill you from
Yami-
like 2-3.
Well, yeah, but you need to have a lot of resources. You need your opponent to have screwed up immensely to
If the
give you that
stars
many
align, you just
resources.
just kill them. It doesn't.
And they need to not have any sack counters or whatever. Whereas Yami doesn't need any of that. They just need the
And-
opponent.
That's the
if you have 9 cards in hand.
yes, the 9 cards in hand is the biggest
Oh
problem.
god.
But I think the most
God.
frustrating thing probably is just always going to be the Yami has like literally no overhead to make the combo go off, and then it also has no counterplay. It's the only finisher as of right now with literally
Gilgamesh.
0 counterplay.
Gilgamesh.
Oh, okay, sorry. It has one super fringe counter case from a card that's like almost never run.
Shana and Log Horizon.
Wind triggers are real.
Well, yeah, but
I think
you
you're on
have
the
to be
losing
able to
side of the
trigger on
table
command.
if you're playing those.
Nah, man, when you're playing 2 Love Root, if you
Good
channel your
shit.
love, you will
So
get wind
in-
triggers on
You
command.
channel your
Um,
cancer, you mean?
Oh, that too.
There's-
Your
There's now
opponent will
two,
just
two
drop
sets
dead of
with a
cancer.
Jupiter counter. 2 sets with Jupiter counter means that you can heal while they're trying to ping you.
This is true. You can
And
use
there's
heal
also index, of
counters,
course.
but heal counters are still like the biggest problem for 2 lovers 5 shots isn't that like the 5 shots are guaranteed damage, which they basically are. It gets worse as soon as you cancel on any of those shots.
Oh god, no. The problem is we're all assuming that we cancel the big swings.
Yeah, and when you
If-
cancel
if
the
you
shot,
take-
you just lose.
More or less, because that's just one climax gone, and the bigger hits will go through now.
I mean, like,
It's just
Yep.
and again, this is an anecdote, so it's never going to be like complete fact or the general trend. But like, I force my opponent to a situation where I'm swinging for 3 down the center with 3 shots on it, and it can't be countered, and he's at 3-6,
Yeah.
and that's because he canceled a shot,
well, that's why you play the Haruhi counter, right?
obviously.
Right? No,
That's why you
that-
play the. Or you play the
does
counter
not keep
to that
you
makes
anything
worse
at
than
that
the
point.
side
One of the
attack.
biggest
That
things that
point,
you're
it
running
doesn't
into
matter.
here, though, is like the specific cards are used for counterplay, and the slot commitment for the archer in particular is rather great. You want 5 minimum slots dedicated to that counterplay, and that counterplay isn't going to be efficient in other matchups per se.
Well, the problem is the counterplay is replacing probably your level 1 game or your finisher, which is bad.
And that's bad. And it's like you're basically killing your matchups elsewhere, and it actually doesn't make that matchup that much better because frankly they still have money. They can still prevent
Yeah.
themselves from dying on the swing back, and they can try again.
So, well, no,
Well,
no,
I
they
mean,
can't. It's very hard for them to try
It's very
again.
hard to try again, but you can definitely do it.
No, not really,
You
because
just,
when are you
like-
going to get the climax?
You're gonna hand encore 3 times, and you're gonna try again because you kept that Mayo in your hand. I don't know.
You can't hand encore 3 times if they slam a bunch of Alexanders and clock kick you.
Alexander's. But if they slam a bunch of, well, okay. If they did that first, then I guess that's exciting. You can just get
You
one
heard
or
it here,
two of them
guys.
back.
Fate is the counterplay. Gotta
Well, it's
play,
like-
gotta populate
it's
those
like your-
tournaments.
Your guild makes it so you don't get like ass handled by or ass handled by
Because the way I
5-shot
see it, right?
triggers.
Because if you already played the Gill, right,
they
that
clock
means you
kick
were,
them a
you were
bunch, it's
clearly
perfect.
level 3 to begin with, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
You were level 3 to begin with, right? Why didn't you just clock kick things already and try to kill your opponent before letting them even get the chance to kill you?
Because they have money counter and you rather wait till you can get rid of all their Yamis.
I mean, if I
Because
see a
it's way more
Gilgamesh on their
paper.
front row, I think my game plan is not play the climax and just kill Gilgamesh.
How are you gonna kill Gilgamesh?
Well, if he drops the climax to do it anyways, then I don't
That's
really
set
mind.
that's set as a 4/5 counter.
That's true.
Yeah, you-
Command Seal is
I-
the realest counter.
Command Seal's really good.
It's
and
also
even then,
bondable. That's hilarious.
For the
but
record,
it's
guys,
searchable.
we're all talking about incredibly fringe scenarios that I don't expect to actually be relevant ever.
You
Yes.
say that, but I'm building Fate right now, so you never know, man.
My God. Okay, you can take over your locals with your reign of empirical, no, not empirical, with your reign of tyranny. You're gonna have how many kings in that deck?
All of them.
I'm probably not going to play King of Creation Archer. I'm just going to play like Renin Archer and be way safer about it.
Oh,
But
I
like
guess
I
that's-
kind of, because like you could just like to go off on a tangent. I feel like siding a bunch with Renin Archer is like pretty nice, like against money
think so.
counters.
That is the solution as well. You could just like side for one, burn one,
Yeah.
side for one, burn one, side for one, burn one, and then
See, that's very comparable to Yami because it's 6 instances of 1 damage. The difference is you can't freaking dig for the climax.
yeah, draw
Yeah.
2 ditch 1 on a
That's
climax
why you
combo
play
finisher
the
is pretty
3-2
brutal.
caster.
No,
The
I
3-2
understand that.
what?
Which
from
3-2 counter?
UW. 3-2 caster?
Oh,
The 3-2 caster. That look
Oh,
at top
God.
5.
oh dear God.
Oh man,
Yeah,
let's turn this into a 4-color rider deck. Yeah, that's what I want to do with my pet project.
Why is yellow in the deck?
I was considering maxing out like Iris Veil Searchers just to have like bounce triggers if I felt I needed them, but I don't think I need them.
No, I
No,
don't think you
probably
do.
not.
But like it just makes the deck more ridiculous, and like to me that's the big appeal to the rider deck
That
because it's kind of ridiculous. I don't know, but like
That's-
not in
yeah.
like overpowered ridiculous, just like
it's funny.
I think it's a funny deck
Mm.
that has very strong tools.
I don't know.
You know?
All of these fringe cases, like they will happen at some point, and you'll maybe lose that game, or you'll win anyways because it's still Weiss, and you'll move on, and you'll just be satisfied knowing that because you're playing the better deck, you'll probably have a better record at the end of the day just by law of averages.
Again, it's wise. Law of averages in tournaments don't mean very much.
This
and
is true.
best
When
of,
you only have like 9 games, like
Best
averages
of
will
one.
kick in.
best of 1 is stupid.
I wish
my
I wish
best.
there was time for best of 3 Weiss games, but
I don't. Best of 2 is what
Best
you
of
probably
2?
should be doing.
90%, guys. 90%.
Yeah, best of 2. Every win is worth a point.
that statistic is such garbage.
I agree.
The
Someone
90%.
say statistics.
There was the stupid Bouchero statistics like,
It wasn't Busher, it was Heart of the Cards.
oh sorry, well
It was
does not help.
Oh,
I
God.
know what statistic you're talking about.
Yeah,
so.
Guys,
90% of the people
why
who
we
win best of
dignifying-
1, it's like win best of 3. It's like what?
Why are we dignifying that with discussion? Of course, that's the case. You just won a game already. You just have to win 1 more.
Yeah, man.
Like, going from best of 1 to best of 3 is literally just winning another best of 1.
I mean, statistically speaking, like because there's no sideboards in this game, it's not like you can like adjust dramatically to
can.
what you're playing
You can,
against.
Can.
You can adjust dramatically, but you have to have been playing incredibly incorrectly to begin with.
Yeah, like you need to really fuck up.
You can adjust a little bit, and
Like
that
you
is
can't
often
like it's not like comparable to saying like, all right, I'm playing Dredge and Legacy, I win
no,
game
no,
one
no, no, no.
automatically.
It's not like that. And Dredge doesn't win game one automatically. Sometimes you just whiff.
Sometimes you brick,
If
but I mean like the deck has like a 90% game one win rate. It just like has to struggle for the next two.
Sure.
Yeah.
But like if anything, it's like the most you could probably fix is like you didn't know the series that well. You played into a Shimakaze combo you weren't expecting. And then
Yeah.
in games 2 and 3 you hopefully won't do that again.
I'm not an advocate of best of three, for the record. I don't think best of one means very much. And that's a problem with Weiss in general, in addition to the tournament format. Okay, so I guess we can kind of close it out by discussing a little bit of what we can really do to fight Tulavru before it eventually gets hit. I'm probably just going to play Index.
I mean, I'm also probably gonna play Index, to be real. If I'm not playing two Loveru against two Loveru, I'm probably playing Index.
I don't like the mirror for Tulavru. It's really weird, and there's not
The
much
two
you can
Loveru
do
mirror
with
is
it.
very funny because it's like the goal is to hit level 3 second, because if you're at 3-2, you just kind of lose. And on top of that, all of your counters, which you run 4 to 6 of in your deck, just don't
Are
do anything
useless.
in the matchup at all.
Well, you just used them earlier, that's all.
Like you have to use them. Well, that means you're using them because like this is where like the level 3 money counter is actually relevant, whereas versus the 2-3 variant from like the Capo or Little Busters, that you really can't use them that much earlier, because if you're already at level 3, then your opponent's looking to drop 3 Yamis and kill you this turn.
That's true. The fact that it's 3-3 actually comes into play in the mirror, whereas it's not that relevant in other matchups.
Like it's just like if you're already at level 3, your opponent's just saying, if I'm at 2-2, I'm not dying this turn. Yami doesn't push that much damage relative to like Marika. It doesn't have that much reach. It does
Yeah.
have a very, very stable ceiling. It's
Yeah, that's the problem. You reach that incredibly high ceiling very often.
like the ceiling is like held up by like Atlas himself. Like it's not falling. That ceiling is solid. It's rock solid. Like,
Well, it depends. If Atlas takes a +2/+1 soul to the face, then...
well, then you're just dead because you got sacked.
Well, I wouldn't call it sacking when it's calculated.
Controlling your
Controlling,
Yes,
controlling, your triggers and
controlling
cancels.
my triggers.
But
I wish I could control my
it's
triggers.
like in the mirrors is like it's super cancerous, because it's just like all of these counters that like are normally value cards in other matchups just don't do anything here, because like the deck isn't that strong in the defense. Relatively
Once you've fired, and if you don't kill them that turn, there's a very good chance you're just out of gas, and you have to be a fair deck for the next turn.
Yeah, it's like your level 1 game is being a standard meta game, in a meta deck in this case, where you try to get advantage with Shimakaze style effects, and then your opponent does the same to you, except like both sides run 2k counters designed to prevent the Shimakaze effects from happening. The irony is that 2k counter isn't big enough to stop these effects from happening,
Only because the 1/1.
only because the 1/1 is a real card.
And that's why I don't think the Tulavru mirror is the answer to Tulavru. You should be playing Tulavru if you think it's the best set in the format, and if you think that you have an edge in the mirror that no one else does. But for me, I'd rather play a deck that has counterplay and also just does well against other sets by way of that, which is Index.
I think Index has a lot of really good tools. I think the Dragon Strike counter is a huge deal when dealing with other big meta sets. Sack counters
Yeah,
are invaluable,
exactly.
especially when they're free.
You just screw
Yeah.
with Kokomi. Make them screw with Kokomi, because not only do you sack one of their targets, but you buff one of your other characters to the point where not only are they massive, but if they side for 0. Dragon Strike is great right now. It is one of the best events in the game right now.
Yeah, it's a 1/0 2k counter that gives +2 levels while being a sack counter. Sack counter is not a
Yeah.
downside in any circumstance, except when you like absolutely
right
have
now.
nothing to attack with.
Not right now. So,
Which
like-
set is that from? Is
It's
that the
first
first?
Deck set
set.
1.
First
Okay.
set. And that's the reason why I think every Japanese topping index list that I've seen is absolute garbage. They splash for like six gates and Misakuro, and they completely omit yellow, despite the fact that yellow has the hexproof finisher and
Dragon
it
Strike.
has Dragon Strike.
And then on top of that, you still have the heal counter, which is super relevant actually against
Yeah.
Tulavu.
See, Tulavu kind of does this bombardment thing where you die in one turn, but if you can heal to like in the middle of that bombardment and cancel as well, well, there goes their win.
Sadly, the consequence is that the index reach isn't as great as the.
Doesn't need to be. It compresses incredibly well. It finishes off fields incredibly well. It can actually kill the advanced summon Yami if need be.
Yeah, it is very capable of doing that because the early play index is what 11-5 without back row, so
It is.
it gets to about 12-5, 13-5 depending on where it's slotted in your back row.
Yeah.
And that's actually too big for counter range on the Yami as well.
Exactly. It is a little weak to on reverse combos at level 1 if you don't have Dragon Strike, but that's okay because you grind them out anyway. You'll always have advantage.
It depends though, because if you got 2 time machines off, you're just trading extra damage to deny your opponent advantage in hand.
Oh, I guess that is true. Yeah.
I think the biggest problem for index is if you do trigger climaxes, it can get very unpleasant very quickly, depending on where they are.
Is it now?
Well, okay, you can definitely pay out 3 stock in a turn. That's not impossible, because cheerleader index plus brainstorm.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, you can brainstorm for a
Plus-
bond and
plus
use that
bond.
or do whatever.
There's ways of paying it out, but it's like then that really hurts your compression that you'd like to have like a lot
I
of
guess,
stock.
but you can't have everything, so having a way to cope in the beginning is fine. And that applies to Love Rue as well. They can't pay out stock that easily. They need to draw their searches, and they don't always have them. I guess
Yeah.
brainstorm's a thing,
They do have really good mill options though.
which is another thing. Milling is really strong right now, so Index definitely does that.
For me, I'm gonna just really play sets that I'm most familiar with, which I recommend everyone do, because I think Weiss, if anything, is a lot, not just about deck shuffling, not just about probability counting, but also about deck knowledge. Like how well do you know your set, and how well can you analyze a certain situation? When to ram into other characters, when to side, when to front attack, and all that stuff.
I absolutely agree. One of the reasons I ran what I ran at the WGP was I had run so many reps with the deck that I didn't need to think twice for any situation that even looked close to normal. So I didn't have to think very hard. I could just use my energy thinking about what my opponent was going to do, and that's a really important skill to have.
Like that being the case, for me, that would be probably Kantai and Idolmaster, but probably leaning more towards Kantai.
IMAS is probably not the best choice against
IMAS is a
Rover.
pretty difficult deck to pilot.
Exactly,
Yeah,
which is why I'm probably going to be relying on Kantai because it's the set I know the most, and I've tested all different kinds of cards, all different kinds of combos, and honestly, like I don't know where this yellow blue list came from, but I'm pretty sure like no one thought about this deck when the second set came out, because blue, everyone was just like, oh, let's just play yellow green, let's just play like the meta deck, just stack more Hatsukazes and Akages in the same deck, and now that all 3 of them are on the list, people have to adjust.
Don't forget Junio.
Oh, and Junior.
Oh my god.
That card is never ever getting unbanned.
Not even to 1.
No, not even for freaking 0.
You only need
Dude,
1.
Kantai will fucking
One?
get to it if it's at 1.
One in a deck with Shimakaze and I don't remember the name of the support.
Akashi.
Oh, Akashi.
Akashi? Are you really going to put one in?
Not
And he
even
might just like... He might even just like Akatski into it.
Yeah. Oh,
Like,
that being said, Akatsuki
That deck
is
gets
also
to what it
good now.
wants.
Exactly. That's another strength of all the top tier decks. They get what they want.
Which is really annoying for me. Even like, I just don't know. I think Azusa should have just stayed in IMAS, and no other set should have gotten it.
Well, there were 2 sets that had that effect before, but they
Well-
were
Well, the
tied to
costless
costed
variants.
Did
characters.
Fate have it before? Or Nanaha?
Fate might have had it actually.
Fate
I'm
Nanaha.
thinking
I'm not
of.
talking about actual Fate. I'm talking about Nanaha.
I'm thinking about Disgaea because it was in D2.
This guy had the Etna. Shin
And
Chan
then-
has a Shin Chan.
Okay,
What's
so
it called? Gargantia has it
I
on
would, yeah,
A21.
Gargantua was the first instance of the Akatsuki effect, I believe, on a 2-1, and then Edna got it, and then Azusa, and then Akatsuki.
Well, Shin Chan has a similar effect as well.
Does it?
Shin Chan has a pay 1 sack this to get the effect, and then Nanaha has a pay 1 send this to memory to get the same effect.
Well,
They're a bit different though. They have to
I think
pay.
the importance is like not
Well, you have to
paying
pay
stock.
for the Gargantia one and the Etna
Yeah,
one
but
too.
you're paying one for a character that has the effect tacked on.
This is true.
It's a 218K or something, whereas in Disgaea you're paying for a 1-1 assist.
Yeah, the Gargantia one is a global assist,
Okay,
To-
sure.
pilot or something.
Yeah, makes
Or
sense.
army.
Makes a lot of sense.
I mean,
Azusa was not a good idea.
Azusa
No.
was a great idea. Idolmaster is
idea.
great.
I-
You guys are
Azusa's
haters.
putting it
Azusa would have been okay if it was the only instance of it and it was never reprinted ever again.
exactly, and then Kandai got it, and then everyone else and their mom got it, which is really frustrating.
Really, really frustrating.
I welcome the green version of it that's in Fate.
The green one in look, Fate is. I
Because
am scared.
I'm
really
pretty
scared.
sure they figured out after Kandai that they should nerf some of the effects on it.
By the way, guys, if you're gonna get into Fate, pick up your Ilias right now. Like
Oh,
literally
the-
right now.
Oh shit, yeah, that's a good point actually.
You're gonna need a playset.
Absolutely.
Boy,
I mean, you already need a playset if you're playing the weird ass master build, but that deck might actually be super coherent and cool with the new set.
I'm going to try and make Gacha at some point in my life.
Well,
Archer's like a cool deck, I guess, but Rider
I mean,
is
with the new
my
set.
shit.
yeah, the new set might have a lot of support, but like, I think we covered this tier list. It's
I think so, yeah. It's the tier list is there. If anyone has questions, please feel free to PM or drop a comment or start an argument or get foreign all riled up. Do whatever you want. But
we will respond because we do this.
yeah, we do this. As it all goes, yes, tier shift. Yes, people will Bushiroad wants to sell cards, so they will give people better sets. So yes, there's going to be power creep. But this is not normal. Like To Love Ru is not a normal set by any stretch.
This is the strangest thing that happens at the same time of year as Nisekoi from the. You'd think they would have learned.
No, no.
Or not. They made money off Nisekoi, didn't they?
They made
Dude.
a lot of money off Nisekoi, but a lot of people
Yeah.
bought Nisekoi before it was revealed to be a broken ass set.
And a
Did
lot
it
of people
now.
also bought the EB before it was revealed to be literal ass.
So like,
I mean, like,
Well, Tolover
who's-
is really popular in Japan, though. Like,
Yeah, they could have made To Love Ru like like if they made the alien deck the best deck and Yami Mikan was like
the secondary deck.
an incredibly vanilla deck with the only finisher being a come and play clash, it would still have made a lot of money.
yeah.
It
Keep
just
in
so
mind
happened
like
that
Bushiroad doesn't make money from the secondary market like Yute, so like all they care about is pushing boxes anyways.
exactly. So making high value boxes is within their scope, and that's just how they're always going to
Which
be.
bodes well for UBW too. Then, just throwing that
being
out there.
said,
I
Go
think
Fate.
so.
I hope there's a lot of people out there that are gonna join me in like emptying our wallets out for Cinderella Girls.
Boo.
Boo.
I feel sorry for all of you.
Don't remember people. Last year, after Nisekoi was IMAS movie booster,
And why?
Shit.
prophecy.
I bought 6 boxes of that. Not my finest moment.
like,
Though I didn't have to buy my Azusas afterwards, which was nice.
but like that is an important thing to consider. Like, if Bushiroad continues their cycle of doing really dumb things, the IMAS Cinderella Girls booster may be less than stellar.
Yeah, but it's okay. I have love for this.
Yeah. Or it could be like I don't know.
Well, they could just be continuing the everything is going to just be more ridiculously power creep than the last set.
I think they're just going to keep on with the power creep and keep pushing back Puyo Puyo until it's a 2020 release.
Fucking
Puyo
Puyo
Puyo.
Puyo. I'm so pissed.
Wait. Okay, so to go back to that IMAS thing, and then so after IMAS movie was Kantai set 2. So
Mhm.
whatever set is after CG is going to be cool then, right?
You mean Kantai again?
It's destined for mediocrity because Contact
It's
2
gonna
was
be
not a
it's
great
gonna be
set.
Love Live movie.
Yes.
It's gonna be Love Live movie.
Yes,
Oh
it's
my
going to
God,
be Love Live
please.
movie. It's
I
going to be
need more waifu cards.
it's going to be an acceptable set, but it won't be broken. And the set after Cinderella Girls, wait, isn't Charlotte next?
Oh yeah, it is.
Gag me with a spoon,
Yes.
dude.
Oh, Charlotte's a key franchise, so it's going to be very good.
Dude, Naga Secret Rares.
Yeah, man.
Oh
Now I
my
got Secret
God,
Rares.
See
Secret
Konami
Rares.
now.
I'm telling you, Weiss is becoming Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh
Now
my
I got
God.
Ghost Rares, man.
I'm not going to discuss my views on Charlotte. I'm just still so confused.
The show sucks, guys. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. It sucks.
And that last episode was so boring.
It was just
I
him
didn't
being
feel
Batman.
anything.
So before we induce rage in all of the viewers, I guess
Maybe we
it's time
should
to
cut it
sign
there.
off.
Pizza
Before
sauce
we...
is a bad waifu, guys. Yusa
Wait.
is also a bad waifu.
I agree with both those sentiments.
Snape killed Dumbledore.
Oh shit!
Hey
Bro,
man,
I'm still on book 4. Sorry, book
Alright.
5. I'm on book 5.
So any last statements that aren't meant to induce rage?
Buy your level 3 Gilgameshes, guys.
Ganbare
Let's make this a
masu.
thing.
Buy my SP.
By my SP.
I'll take your SP for my birthday.
I figures.
We shall see, won't we? Alright, I think that'll probably about do it. If you've got any questions, comments, likes, dislikes, problems, life worries, gifts to give us, please leave a comment, please leave a PM. And good luck to everyone participating in regionals or WGP. And yeah, this is Lychee Punnet with a whole bevy of people.
Get your
sign
archers
up.
when they're 700 yen on UUT.
Uzuki says Ganbare masu.
They are 700 yen on UUT
More
right
like
now.
Buzuki.
Oh,
Wow.
Oh,
Shots fired. But
savage.
yes, before we continue discussing how bad Cinderella Girls characters are, I think we can sign off here. And thanks for listening. And hope you enjoyed the show.